in today is going to show you how to make a heart pendant on the mandrel using this, which is a brass mould for hearts. We'll do a little bit of prep work first. So the easiest way I find to make the pendants, especially when you're using presses, is to actually take a little bit of time and make a little blue tack mould. So I've got blue tack and I made it, pushed it into the shape of the heart. I've got a nice heart shape, so you can see it's pretty good there. And then you actually just squish it back up again and make it back into a round shape. And when you compare the glass when you're putting it on the mandrel, and you compare size for size between the blue tack version and the glass version, it just helps you get the right amount of glass. You can actually do it the other way, obviously, but what you'll find is you're adding glass to the mandrel, finding you've not got enough glass in the mould, so you add more glass and you back and forth to the mould 5 or 6 times. Whereas if you do it this way, it just speeds things up, makes it a little bit easier. So I've squished that back into a round shape, and so we've got a nice round shape there, and then I'll compare the glass on the mandrel to that before I do the first press. So I'm working with the mid-range today, using the minor on the mid-range, and just go reasonable flame, get the glasses on. And I'm working with cobalt blue. This is a soft glass, Effectra, and it's about 8mm diameter, so because it's quite a big pendant I'm going to make, so it just helps to build up the glass a little bit quicker. And I've also got some around about 2mm mandrels. These have just been dipped, so I'll just take a couple of seconds just to warm these up a little bit. And obviously, because it's Valentine's Day coming up shortly, the first thing I thought was to make something nice and romantic that you can all make for your partners, but I couldn't think how to do an alien, so we're going to have to do a heart instead. And I've also got some shards, some silvered ivory shards that Becky made in the last video for you, that I'm going to use to decorate the heart as well. So just take a couple of minutes just to warm up the glass. Like I said, this is 8mm diameter, so you don't want to warm it up too quickly because it will shock quite easily and jump off and crack. So just take your time. Hold the glass down a little bit, so hold your hand down so the glass actually just rolls back on itself as it's warming up. And obviously you can do this on freehand and shape the heart with either a razor tool or a graphite paddle or a shaping tool, but when you use a press, whether it's brass or graphite, you just get such defined shapes, you get such sharp edges, that I think it's the nicest way to do the heart shape. And this one's got the mandrel running top to bottom so that it can hang really nice as a pendant on a chain or a piece of leather or a piece of cotton. So we're about 3/4 of the way there now, needs a little bit more glass. And we've got smaller moulds, we've even got larger moulds actually, but if you find it easier to work with a smaller mould, have a look on the website. And like I say, we've got smaller moulds that might find it easier to start with, instead of having to build up such an amount of glass. So just get my mandrel, start to warm that up a little bit on the top of the flame. And then, now I've got it nice and hot, just onto the mandrel. And this is where the blue tack lump comes in handy. So compare the two sizes, and I think it's going to be around about the right size. And so now with the brass mould, remember you don't have to warm the mould, you don't have to put bead release in it. I get quite a few questions sometimes where people saying, do you put bead release in the mould? No, I don't do that. And I just sort of present it up just to get the rough sort of drop shape, just by using the base of the mould, and then back in the mould again. And just not so much pressing, but just let the weight of the mould sink down. So the shape isn't too bad to begin with, but I think we're going to need to touch it up a little bit. So I've got a little graphite paddle here, so I'm just going to be able to touch these shapes up. I'm pushing it down a little bit because I think at the bottom it's lacking a little bit of glass at the bottom. So just move the glass down there, just push it a little bit with the graphite paddle, and again warm everything through, keep it nice and hot. And then we'll go for a second press in. And just about starting to get there, but again, just warm. There's a little bit of an overlap on the edge, which you're bound to get, so I'm just going to paddle that back in with the graphite paddle. But with this being like a three-dimensional mould, you get a really nice definition of the bulbous, like the cheeks of the heart. So that's the heart shape there done. Use a pair of tweezers to pick up a piece of the shards. So just again going to warm this through, because I want to be able to press these shards in. I don't want to leave it as a decoration on the surface. I don't want to leave it proud on the surface. I want it to be nice and smooth. So again, nice and hot. Give it another press. And again, there's a little bit of overlap, so just paddle that back down. So we get a nice edge at the bottom of the heart, where it's the nice little finished edge to it. At the top, it's just overlapped a little bit, so I'm just going to use a razor tool just to push the top part back in again. A little bit of bead release just come. You have to be ever so careful when you're pressing, because if you press too hard, you get the bead release comes loose. I don't want that in the glass, so again, just pick that out. And I think I'll just do a little flower in one top corner. And again with the razor tool, just press a little line across each of the dots. And get the yellow for the centre of the flower. And I think I'm happy with that. So that's your pendant heart, so it's in cobalt blue with silver ivory shards on. And we'll pop that in the kiln, see how it comes out of the kiln.